Everyone expected him to defend himself. He didn't. The courtroom was silent. No plea, no explanation. Just one man staring straight ahead. The prosecutor smiled. The jury leaned in. Silence was being mistaken for surrender. But what they didn't know was that the silence wasn't fear. It was timing, because the case wasn't decided by the man who spoke first, but by the one who spoke last. Watch out as the story unfolds. Only then you know that silence sometimes doesn't mean vulnerability, but within it lies a great power. Everyone expected him to speak. That's what innocent people do. But when the judge called his name, he didn't say a word. No denial, no explanation, not even a glance at the jury. The courtroom grew uncomfortable. Silence stretched longer than it should. The prosecutor leaned forward, confident. The jury began to assume. Because in court, silence looks a lot like guilt. And that was exactly what made this case dangerous. The prosecutor thought the silence was fear. So he pushed. He laid out the evidence slowly, confident the man would break. Witness statements, timelines, a motive that sounded convincing. The jury nodded. The room felt decided.
Then the prosecutor made a mistake. He explained too much. And the man who hadn't spoken yet was listening to every word. Halfway through the trial, something felt off. One detail didn't fit, a timestamp. A witness who remembered too clearly, a timeline that worked, only if no one questioned it. The prosecutor brushed past it. The jury didn't notice, but the man who never spoke, he did. His silence hadn't been empty. It had been observant. And now the case wasn't as clean as it looked. By the fourth day, the courtroom had chosen a side. The silence was no longer intriguing, it was frustrating. The judge leaned forward. The tone changed. He reminded the defendant of the stakes, of the consequences, of what silence could cost him. The room waited. Still, no words, not because he couldn't speak, but because the right moment hadn't arrived. And when silence survives pressure, it stops looking like fear. On the final day, the courtroom expected more silence. Instead, the man stood up. He didn't argue. He didn't defend himself. He asked one question, a question about a timestamp, about a witness who couldn't be in two places at once. The room shifted. The prosecutor froze. The judge leaned in, and with that single sentence, everything the court believed collapsed. Because silence hadn't been surrender, it had been strategy.